Item C, adopt a resolution approving new red curb on the north side of Sylvan Avenue west of Maryland Place, on the east side of Mastic Avenue north and south of Maryland Place, and the north side of Commodore Drive east and west of the parking lot entrance to Peninsula Place condominiums located at 1126 Cherry Avenue.
Mayor and members of City Council.
Let me do one more thing. I'm just going to back up. My prerogative, if it's all right with you.
You're the mayor.
Do you want to say something regarding the last item at the podium, please?
My name is Gloria Dieter. I'm the nutrition site manager. I cook over anywhere from 460 meals to 600 meals a week here on the site. And as a devil's advocate, so we do open up our kitchen and our facility and some of our equipment, and something does go wrong, who's to say that I come in on Monday morning and I don't have my equipment and the facility running up to its functionality? You know, who's to say that I have to use the stove, the oven, steam table, which is not, steam table has not been a problem, but we have a, very sensitive, equipment. And I'm coming in here to provide a service to my community. And if my equipment is not up to its proper working order, what do I do?
Okay.
What's the answer to that?
Randy, could you address this at the podium with that so we're not moving too many people around? I would guess that there's plenty of deposit in place, number one, if there is in fact somebody breaks something. But number two, I would guess that the new attendant that would be in charge, that is trained to operate this stuff, is going to make sure that it's operating before and after that rental party leaves.
That is correct. There's both the deposit, and the facility attendant would immediately know before the event left if things were in proper working order. If they were not, we would be contacting facilities division, who would be working on the issues immediately. But the reason to have the facility attendant is to make sure that everything here is in proper working order, that they are the ones that are touching the knobs, buttons, etc., and not the renters. That was also one of the conditions from the Senior Advisory Board. That's why they asked that if people do abuse this, if they can be barred from future uses. Mm-hmm. That would be very difficult to do for private parties. Would be more something that would be going on for organizations.
Through the chair, and I appreciate the question, because I'll be the first to say, getting called out at 1 a.m. in the morning to mop floors, Ray Gomes taught me how to mop a floor correctly because he was in the military, is there some provision that all of a sudden the attendant's taking stock and inventory, notices that at midnight, going into Sunday, that obviously there's a concern? Whom would they contact on that Sunday to try to make any type of necessary arrangements so that Monday it is functioning and operational for the needs of the seniors?
They would contact either the supervisor of the facilities division, Renee Walsh. They can contact the head of the senior division, or they can contact me, and we will be working with them depending on what the issues are.
If it's mopping floors, I can help you, but in that category, I'm probably not.
If it's mopping floors and those things, there is a custodial company that's also coming in. On weekdays, we do have 23 hours a day. There is a custodian on duty somewhere within the city. That is not true for weekends. But the supervisor of the facilities division is available, or we do have lead persons. So all the facility tenants would have a list of phone numbers to contact.
So we'll have a contingency plan in place just in case the unforeseen may happen.
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And you heard the Vice Mayor is available for mopping.
Mopping only. I haven't forgotten how to do that here. It's been a while.
I don't know how to do it.
Now we will go to item 10C.
Good evening again. The draft resolution before you tonight is to install red curbs at 5 different locations. The first light is for Maryland Place. Staff received a letter from a local resident indicating that parked vehicles on Sylvan Avenue obstruct entry to the one-way Maryland Place, and that there's a limited clear sight distance at the exit to Mastic Avenue. Staff conducted a study and presented the result to the TSBC. Staff validated the turning movement concern and identified there is a sight distance deficiency. Staff is forwarding TSBC's recommendation for Council's consideration to install 10 feet of red curb on Sylvan Avenue, west of the entrance to Maryland Place, to improve vehicle turning movement, especially for emergency vehicles. Second is to install 10 feet and 40 feet of red curb along Mastic Avenue, north and south of Maryland Place, to improve the sight distance for motorists exiting Maryland Place. This recommendation will not resolve loss of loss of standard street parking on Sylvan Avenue. However, there will be 3 lots on Mastic Avenue. The second slide is the location for Commodore Drive. Staff received a letter from the manager of Peninsula Place condominiums requesting option to improve visibility when exiting the parking lot on Commodore Drive. Staff conducted a study and presented the result to the TSBC. Staff identified there is a limited sight distance at this location and is forwarding their recommendation for your consideration. The recommendation is to install 40 feet and 10 feet of red curb on Commodore Drive east and west of the parking lot entrance to improve sight distance for motorists exiting the parking lot. This recommendation would result in total of 3 standard parking spaces. That concludes the presentation. Any questions?
Any questions? Michael?
Going back to the first location, I drove down Maryland Place, and it's a very narrow street, and there's not a lot of parking, although there are some driveways in there. But I noticed that on Mastic, half of the street is all red. The very top end near Angus is, I believe, 2-hour parking, and the parking lots that service the businesses have 5-hour limits, and there's a number of driveways along the rest of Mastic which leave very few parking spots. So I'm wondering if we lose a couple of more parking spots there, I think it's going to have a pretty significant impact. It seems like there's already nowhere to park.
The city operated parking lot is, I believe, the time limited restriction ends at 6 o'clock. So there is options for the local residents to park in the city operated parking lot. You have the option to modify this resolution and to shorten the red curb distance.
Okay, well, okay. And the recommendation based on the visibility there, did that have something to do with the amount of traffic or the speed of the traffic on Mastic? Because it doesn't seem that limited, and it seems like it's not, at least not a major thoroughfare.
Traffic speed and volume-wise, I believe it's normal. It's not high volume and it's not high speed, but with cars parked, especially as you exit Maryland onto Mastic, for the left, your left, as the driver looking at the left side, it's a little bit difficult when cars are all parked, and then 40 feet down, there's a driveway, and if the residents park their larger vehicle on the driveway, not into their garage, it makes that sight distance even more limited.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Through the
Mr.
chair.
Rivera?
40 feet seems like a long distance. Now, you just mentioned that 40 feet goes to the next driveway. Is that just a random number, or is the preferred site distances is always 40? Because I noticed on the other proposal it's also 40 feet, 10 and 40. So I'm just thinking, Is there ability, without losing that sense of safety, is there ability to be less than 40? Or
We use the standard traffic uniform code, and basically based on this traffic speed, we use the table as a reference to calculate how much of the sight distance a motorist would need exiting certain intersection, or in this case, the narrow driveway you might. So if there's, like I said, there's an option that we can shorten it, and if there is a persistent problem, we can come back and increase the red curb lane.
Through the chair.
Irene?
I'm with Ken. I think 40 feet is awful long. So how long is a standard parking space?
20 feet.
20 feet. So if we just made that particular one 20,
it'll improve.
if you make it 10, you're still losing 2 parking spaces. So you need to, if you left it 20, you'd leave 1 parking space. Is that how it works?
For mastic, then will be,
10 on one
because
side
the
of the
total, we're calculating the available lane. So from the entrance, for example, the one that is for 10 feet, we lost 1 there because, for example, if the clear distance over there without restriction is 50 feet right now, that gives us 2 standard parking spaces, even though
Okay.
there's leftover. But if we take away 1, that can still give you 2. But then in the 40 feet example, whether you take 10 or 20, you lose 1 for sure.
Okay, so if we, would you be comfortable with 20? I mean, it just seems 40 is a long, 40 is, isn't it, this is about 40, right? This distance,
Yeah,
is it this
yeah,
more?
this whole building is 40 feet wide.
Yeah, so I suggest we do 20 and 10. And if, as you say, it comes and it's still a difficulty and still cause problems, then you can come back. But my suggestion is 20 and 10.
Because if I could ask, because currently, with no restrictions, people are parking right up to the corner.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So at least we'll get 10 and 20 feet of relief, which should help, should improve the visibility.
By a lot. Is that? So do you want, is that one resolution?
Yeah, I believe, do it with one resolution. City
Oh, it's
attorney?
all one?
We
Okay.
can do it with one resolution.
You don't have a problem with 40 on the Commodore?
Yeah, do you want it on the other one?
Yeah. Yes, one resolution.
Okay. I lost it. No, I can't find it.
It's the same thing
No,
on
no, no.
Commodore, 10 and 40.
I don't have my thing.
Yeah.
The one, so the one on Commodore, so is this a separate resolution? It looks here that it's, this one and the one on Commodore are a combined resolution. Okay, so I'm suggesting 20 and 10 on this one. And on the Commodore, tell me again why it's 40 on the Commodore? I mean, why 40 and not 20?
Basically the same
Engineering.
thing. It's
Basically the same thing.
We using the same table as a reference, and it gives us the distance as a guideline.
Okay, is there anything now at all?
There is none right now on Commodore Drive.
Okay.
So both sides are not restricted.
Okay. And I understand as you're coming out left why you'd want more line of sight, but again, 40 feet seems like an awful lot. So again, I suggest 10 and 20.
I concur with that.
City manager, do you have a question? No.
So unless there's other comments, I'll introduce the resolution with 10 and 20 on both pieces. And if there's complaints
Can always-
that come up
always-
after
always
that,
paint more red.
to bring it back to us.
We always had
Is
red.
that clear to staff?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll introduce the resolution with those clarifications or changes.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.